Hi everyone, welcome back. Today we're taking a look at the iFootage Wild Bull tripod. So the Wild Bull together with the bag is a little over 4 kilograms. The Mark III jib is 5.5 kilograms. And the shark slider is a little under 5 kilograms. I would put it in a big rolling case, especially one with 4 wheels, because then you're not holding up the weight. Very high quality case, soft handle. It's got a shoulder strap and it's got nice, decent quality zips, which are quite thick as well. Really well padded and feels really durable and has lots of compartments. This is not intended to be a budget tripod, but more intended to be a super sturdy tripod for jibs and sliders. A rubber strap, which is actually part of the tripod, which allows you to carry it as it is without a case if you need to. This is a 75mm tripod, which means that you can use most fluid heads directly onto there, or use an adapter like this to connect fluid heads that have a flat connection at the bottom. And this does have some screws there, some additional small screws that you can use to actually tighten this up against the head. Most of the time it's not needed. You just need to do that. And then this screws onto there, like that. Then it gives you a really strong connection right there, which of course is adjustable for leveling out your shot as needed. And one trick for tightening or loosening a head like this, for example, if the head is stuck on there and doesn't want to unscrew, then tighten this so it doesn't move, and then use some light taps in that direction to unscrew it. Of course, the pan needs to be locked while you do that. Now, do be fairly gentle with that because you don't want to cause damage to your fluid head. And the same goes for actually tightening it really well onto there. You can just sort of screw it on normally and then give a few little taps like that. Here, as you can see, there's a good amount of space to keep a fluid head together with this inside the case if you want to. The setup time for this is very quick, but not the quickest that I've seen. Here, for example, if you just open it up, it's ready to go, pretty much. So nice and quick, and making adjustments to the height of the legs is nice and easy. Really high quality locks on here. But what might add some extra setup time is the spreader, which can be used either as a mid-level spreader. Here's an example. I'm going to be using this as a floor spreader. Press this button to allow it to clip into place. You do need quite a lot of strength to be able to press that. This tripod will close with the mid-level spreader connected to it, so that's great. Now, the quality of this tripod is absolutely fantastic. Every single part is really well designed and really well made, which is what I've seen from iFootage on their other products as well. But there is one exception. It's okay, but like most spreaders, it can be a little bit more annoying to work with because there's another step that you need to take whenever you want to make adjustments to this. So for example, there I had to undo these in order to do this. Very wide, which means that it allows the tripod to go as low as it wants to go, which is a very nice feature. But here's an example. If I want to move the tripod back up, if I were to just use the legs, then it's a little bit awkward. So here, for example, it wants to bend rather than move back into its place. So the spreader is okay, but I would prefer the legs to stay in place without the need for this. You can use this tripod without the spreader, or just be careful with the spreader so you don't break it. But as you can see here, it's quite flimsy. The feet have quite a wide base. You sometimes might find that they're in the wrong position, and you end up putting the tripod down like that, but most of the time they'll sort of angle automatically. So as you put it down, the angle of the foot sort of just changes. Now this is removable to reveal a spike at the bottom if you want, and it's fairly difficult to remove, which is a good thing, which means that the chance of one of these getting lost is pretty low. So here's an example. Took quite a lot of effort to remove that. Not impossible, but does take some muscle power. I would say with this, if you don't lift weights, then don't bother trying to take them off because you might not be able to get them back on again. I've never actually had to use spikes because this sits on mud just as well as the spike does, in my opinion. So really not something you need to worry about too much. When you're only open this much, then the spreader doesn't really do anything. It's just sort of a thing that's there. I love the quality of these leg locks. They feel fantastic. Now the height of the wild bull is only about 5 foot, which is okay for using together with a slider or a jib. It really doesn't need to go higher than that. And of course that is the height without the head. Over here we do have a bubble level, which is nice, but might get hidden by whatever you've put on top of this. Some of the screw connections have a steel insert. It's a connection that's much, much stronger and more durable than the aluminium connections. And here in the two connections where you could add accessories to the tripod, there are also steel inserts. We have a 1/4 inch, a 3/8 inch, and then on this side there's a little loop that you can hang stuff off of, like something to weigh the tripod down a little. Just feels really, really high quality. This is really easy to screw on. You can see that's screwing on really, really smoothly, which means that it takes much less time to screw that on compared to the Manfrotto one. Now here, if I wanted to connect the iFootage slider to the tripod, then I'd screw this into place, lock it down really nice and tight, and I like that it has these finger grooves. That's definitely much easier to get tight than the Manfrotto one. Now the main aim of this tripod is to be really, really solid and sturdy. So here I've got the spreader in the middle of the tripod, and the legs are extended all the way and open up as wide as they'll go. There is a little bit of flex in that direction, and I am pushing really, really hard on this. And in this direction, also a little bit of flex, but I am pushing very hard on that. And over here without the mid-level spreader, a little more flex, and also it will move out of position. If you press down on it, for example, that way, it will sort of move out of position because these here are not super tight. Now over here we've got it at a normal operating height and sort of an average width for the legs to be. Just sort of how I'd use it when I'm using it together with a slider or a jib. It doesn't flex very much, but if I'm not pressing down very hard, then the legs just sort of want to move out of place because this right here isn't very tight. It's fairly easy to move. So here I did try and tighten these screws, but no matter how tight I make them, it doesn't seem to be able to tighten this up very much. It did make a small difference, but not what I would consider enough. It's only bending a very, very small amount, and I'm pressing much harder than most camera systems weigh. So there's a very, very small amount of flex. 3 bottles of water. So about 6 kilograms, so quite a big camera. And once again, almost no flex. You can see if I try and twist it, then there's a little bit of twist, but I mean, that's holding really well. Now let's take a look at swapping over from the slider to the jib. So I'm going to undo this. I'm just going to put as much weight as I can on this. What you'll be looking for is whether this is moving at all. As tight as it'll go, and this one as tight as it'll go. So that will be putting a lot of sort of sideways force, twisting force like that, and force up and down, which will be pushing it that way.
Alright guys, thanks for watching. Visit my channel for lots more awesome filmmaking and photography videos like lighting techniques, DIY projects, behind the scenes tutorials, cameras, lenses, adapters, shoulder rigs, stabilizers, flashes, LEDs, microphones, bags, straps, studio backgrounds, tripods, float heads, sliders, multi-tools, and lots more cool stuff!